Out of the back into a proper workspace very soon, probably February, and so I don't want to sell people too much on either fact that it's made in this store or that it's made exclusively by me, because I find that customers can easily be feel like they were manipulated. They easily feel like they've been taken advantage of, and when you change the name of the game, they back off. So as soon as we start having sewers, they go, well, they grew. They did something different. So I try and distance myself a little bit from both of those facts, but they are facts and they are the truth, and I'm not going to tell a customer when they ask, because we don't really say, I make it all. We say, have you ever been in here before? Whenever we engage a potential new customer or any customer who's not opening up, and when they say, what they usually say is no or maybe or whatever, you say, well, I'd love to tell you that almost everything in here is made in our studio, and it's all made by us, and everything but the silver jeans. So we try and distance the fact that it's all made by one person, but for people who are sewers, people who aren't sewers don't ask, or people who aren't crafters don't ask, but crafters will go, well, who actually makes it? Because they want to know if we have a factory locally or how, and we go, well, the owner makes it, and they go, oh, the owner, do they make everything? And my staff will always say I do make it all, but what I'm trying to encourage them to say is that I make the large share with a lot of help from my staff, because they do actually do a lot of the work, and they should be included. Hey guys. Hi. And I think it's important. It's really important, especially now that all of the local clothing lines have been outsourced to China, making it very clear to our customers that we are a local company and we will remain a local company, and that's never going to change. Okay. We will close down before that changes. But the locally made's always put forth on all of our print media.
Okay, so that is definitely, you put that up front and center.
Yeah, that's core. That the locally made, and secondly is the sustainability, because I think local is sustainable.
Well, obviously in one regard,
yeah. We'll take, and I've had an argument with so many other designers who'd rather make a product out of sustainable materials and make it overseas than make it local. But for me, the most important thing is that it is made local, and secondary is that it's made by sustainable materials. But for the most part, if we're making it local, we're using reclaimed fibers or upcycled or sustainable fibers, or it's so rare that we're sourcing new fiber from China or something like that is not sustainable. It's just not something we do very much.
Well, sure, it's easy to get caught up. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of sustainability exclusively in relation to materials.
I know.
But
and it's really,
there's way more than that to
There's
it.
way more than that.
Yeah.
And sustainability is fantastic, and the sustainable materials are fantastic, but it doesn't negate the fossil fuels or the fact that they use often extremely harmful chemicals to extract the materials from the environment, or where are those materials coming from? Yeah,
there's all kinds of, I mean, obviously,
so many ethical responsibilities.
Yeah, there are definitely, greenwashing issues associated with material or product.
Well, and it's not sustainable items if we can't afford to consume appropriately into the future. And if we all end up working at Walmart for less than livable wages, sustainability is not going to be an option. We need to support livable wages in our own country, and support, secondly, livable wages in other countries. By outsourcing our production to China, we don't give any of those low-income people any sort of advantages. We're giving their wealthy population all the money and power, and we're taking it right away from our own country. It doesn't do anything but empower the 0.1% that owns all the wealth in the world anyway. It's not helping any of those small businesses in China.
No, not directly, that's for sure, and maybe not even indirectly.
Yeah, probably not. Well, a lot of goods now manufactured overseas are manufactured by prison labor.
Yeah.
Because they can't afford to pay wages anymore, because the products won't be cheap enough. North Americans have gotten so used to dollar store shopping and undercutting that the race to the bottom has created a need for a new market of slave labor. It's crazy.
It is. Do you want to stop for a minute? Or?
Oh, it's okay. But you guys are welcome to interrupt us, by the way, and you're also welcome to open that case.
We're just noodling. Thank
you. It's a wonderful day for noodling. It's not really answering so much of your media questions, but it definitely...
It's good.
It definitely explains why I'm so picky.
It's very relevant. Don't worry.
Bye, guys. Enjoy your noodling.
Okay. Well, we'll keep moving.
Yeah, keep going.
Moving forward though. Okay. So you're obviously, I mean, you're basically an independent owner and operator of a business that is, it's relatively a small size business.
Oh, it's quite small.
How does that, in your perception of business or design-related activities, how do you think that compares to, say, do you think it puts you at an advantage or a disadvantage when it comes to maybe other companies that have more employees or more funds or more like more of a dedicated sort of department, so to speak, for design or for the aspect of coming up with ideas or creativity? I mean, does being independent give you more control or less?
Well, it definitely puts us at a disadvantage financially or for internationally. I think that being a small business is the only sustainable, ethical, and available option to anybody in the upper middle class on down. But the nice thing about it is it offers flexibility, because when we hit the recession, when most people went out of business because they had no room for growth or they had no room for cutbacks, we never had to fire anybody, but we were able to just let people leave on their own terms if they moved on to other jobs, because we couldn't afford to keep their wages going up. And also you just start feeling like it's your fault when you're not making the sales you used to. Excuse me. You just sort of lose your motivation in a company if you just can't keep up your productivity level, because there's so much more invested than just a wage. It's personal at this level. But one thing I really like is we can function as part of the slow fashion movement technically while working under the guise of fast fashion. If there is a need for a product because a new cultural event hits, we're able to generate that product immediately on the spot, like we can do it within days and have it to the customer. We've got flexibility in terms of filling sizes. Like I've worked with so many companies where they just can't fill holes. But in a design aspect, we can really take advantage of events or new marketing measures, or we're kind of at a point where like the world is our oyster, where we haven't really done all that much in marketing, and it will allow us to really create a succinct, culturally relevant brand when we're ready to come on the scene with a big ad campaign, because pretty much everybody, since we're at a point where we've got enough people who are responsible enough that I can't exclude them from the conversation of where we're taking the business. Everyone agrees that we're not going to do a big campaign until we do a full cohesive ad campaign, and I just think that it's so nice to be able to take advantage of the guerrilla marketing and the free opportunities like volunteers and postering and all sorts of stuff like that. And like last night we went out to burlesque, that counts as media, and we had free donations at the burlesque, and sponsoring burlesque dancers and stuff like that, making them outfits. You don't have time for that when you're a big company.
So you don't see a lack of resources?
Well, there's a huge lack of resources, but there's also an advantage.
Yeah.
It's the silver lining. Yeah, yeah, we can be really flexible, and when we make mistakes, nobody loses their job over it. We don't make $1 million mistakes. We make $100 mistakes.
So you don't feel...
It's flexibility. I kind of treat it like an education, because I never went to post-secondary school, so it's given me the opportunity to sort of educate myself in the industry on my own terms.
Well, you're also, from what I understand, I mean, you are touching on that education aspect, you are responsible for so many aspects of what goes on, from the running of the business to the deciding on what to sell, deciding to what materials to use, to what kind of designs to make use of. So if you had other people filling those roles, I mean, sure, it might take some of the pressure off or whatnot, but it wouldn't give you that...
There's less control.
That well-rounded sort of, like you say, that education. Being small requires you to be more versatile, aware, and like from what I gathered, what you said, it's easier to adapt. Yeah. And if something needs to change, you can change it without having to go through different people who all want to have their say, or different people who might have conflicting ideas of what to do?
Or just the inability to do it. Just because you have an idea, like if I want to become a high-end luxury mature woman's line, to be honest, I don't have the personality to really get away with that. Like I could design it for somebody else, but it wouldn't be honest. I think people can tell when it's real. And I think so that's the nice thing about not having to go through other avenues of people. Just because they can do it doesn't mean it will reflect the feeling or the personality or the expression that you really want people to read into it.
When you mean other people, do you mean employees?
Your customers.
Oh.
You want customers to read into it? It's like the photo shoot. It's like we've started bringing other people into it, and we have other people who are fully responsible and reliable for